Hey guys, what's going on? Paul here. Welcome back to another Cardano video. This one, like every Monday, we'll dive into the Cardano Native asset market to take a look at what's going on, what are the biggest movers, what are the top 5 gainers, and also the ones that have fallen away over the last week, and try and figure out a bit of what's going on with each of the projects. Get value, please do share it out. If you're new, subscribe, give the video a like, comment questions or comment for the algorithm below, or even a project that I should maybe try and dive a bit deeper into in a separate video as well. I do appreciate it. Let's jump into it. Okay, before we get into tap tools here, going through the native assets, a very quick look at the overall market, and it has been another red week for the cryptocurrency market. In the last 7 days, you can see Bitcoin is down just over 4%. This week looks very rocky as well, with Mt. Gox, the first release of funds potentially coming at some point this week. Again, we're waiting to get final clarification on that. I did see March 10th was talked about, but haven't seen any official confirmation that the first people will get their funds on that day. Silvergate, everything going on with banking there. I could probably do a full video on that this week at some point to talk more about the overall crypto market as well. But if you look down here, Aada down 9% this week. Really not a great week for Aada again. And one thing I don't like to see is if we change this over to Bitcoin. You know, I talk a lot about comparing your tokens or your projects against Bitcoin. You can see that Aada is down about 4% against Bitcoin for the week. Now, most projects are down against Bitcoin, and that's why I generally look against Bitcoin to see how things are faring up, because in a bear market especially, Bitcoin will be the first to run out of it. Generally it will start to lead the market, and then everything else will start to catch up. So generally when Bitcoin runs, the rest of the market falls away against Bitcoin, but they do catch up then in time. So for some people, there are really good opportunities going in between coins there. But back into the main topic for this one, which is Cardano Native assets. Using tap tools as normal for anyone new, up on top shows the last 24 hours, the trending gainers and losers. But what we're going to concentrate on is the last 7 days, just to get a bit of a bigger picture. So first up, we have Aada Finance, the biggest gainer for a Cardano Native asset for the last 7 days at 47%. It is one that has been gaining a lot of popularity over the last few weeks, I would say. You can see over 30 days up 96%. It is a lending and borrowing protocol on Cardano. They did put out this here, 4 days ago. I covered this in my Cardano catch-up last Friday, so I won't go through the details here, but gives people a bigger picture of what's actually been going on the platform, the amounts that are being borrowed, the types of APR. And for me, I think a lot of people are getting excited about what's coming next, and that is pooled liquidity for lending and borrowing. Now, we do have liquid finance that launched. A lot of people not really happy with how liquid finance launch went and different things going on there. So they are starting to turn attention to Aada Finance, and they're definitely benefiting from what happened over there. Now, if you look at their TVL for Aada Finance for the last, over the last week or so, really starting to take a spike up. And this is peer-to-peer lending. Once they do have pooled liquidity or pooled lending and borrowing, you'll really see a big uptick in the TVL for Aada Finance then. So it's one to keep an eye out for. Next up, not sure why this is resetting, but we have Society token, which is the token for the Ape Society, one of, if not the biggest NFT project on Cardano right now. If we go over and take a look, they did have a release here on the 1st of March. Day 1 of March of the Apes has begun, and it was about, now I haven't seen a huge amount of information outside of this video yet, but it's about some type of passport that you can link NFTs from any different blockchain into one. Waiting to see if I can find out more on that. It's probably a project, if people were interested, I could look to dive a bit deeper, maybe cover a full video on it to see what they've done over the previous year. So they are a year out there now. See what's going on, and maybe even if some of the team are up for it, we could try and get someone on. Next up, we have cNETA, which is wrapped Bitcoin on Cardano. And for me, the biggest, you can see over the last 30 days, they've had a massive growth. We have covered them here before, but essentially it is about wrapping Bitcoin onto the Cardano blockchain. So you would send your Bitcoin to a certain address on the Bitcoin side. It gets held by, I think, the team for version 1. Some people aren't happy with that. Some people see that it may be the only or one of the few options that they have so far. but the team holds Bitcoin and then gives you a wrapped version of that on Cardano. So you would have your Bitcoin on Cardano, but you do always have that risk that someone else is holding custody of the Bitcoin that backs up the wrapped asset that you have. One of the big reasons for this one this week, I would say, if we look up here, you can see that on the 4th of March, 2 days ago, we're excited to announce we've successfully minted CBTC on Cardano. So they had their Ergo testnet out last month. The testnet for Cardano is going to come out this month. And I think they're going live on Ergo on mainnet this month. So we'll wait and see how that one goes. But been doing extremely well, not just over the last week, but over the last 30 days. Then rounding it out, we have Gens, so Genius Yield and Minswap. So Genius Yield has been in the bottom 5 some weeks, but good to see them gaining a bit of traction here. You can see right now the liquidity depth isn't a huge amount, so it doesn't take a lot to move the markets. Haven't heard anything about testnets or mainnet or anything yet, but it's a project, again, it's on my list that I need to follow up and see a bit more about. They are a DEX building on Cardano, and they're going to have aggregators as well. But I'll see what I can find maybe by next week. I might cover it in some of the catch-up videos. Minswap, currently the #1 DEX on Cardano. It had appeared in the bottom one of the weeks recently, but you can see over the last 30 days, up 77%, up 24% for the week. And in general, Minswap has been doing phenomenally well all through February with some really nice gains for people holding the token. That rounds out the top 5. You see Kopi there, still up 22%, up over 100% for 30 days and at number 6. And NTX, NewNet in there as well at nearly 20% up for the week, up nearly 140 for the last 30 days. They're two that have been regularly in the top 5. So 2 projects doing very well. Then on the opposite side of the scale, we see Aada Finance is the one that's down the most for the last 5 days. Now, I do take a certain amount of liquidity into this. I explained this before. If I went into top losers here, you will see that there are other projects that are down even more than the ones I'm going to talk about, but they are not classed as being part of the top 25 here. I stick with the top 25 for these videos for now anyway, because generally there is a decent amount of liquidity in them and it's easier to be able to pick out projects that are actually moving and it's not just 1 or 2 trades moving the market. So if we go back here to take a look here at the bottom 5 for the last week. So Aada Finance is a project that long term I think has lots of potential. You can see it's a real fi platform, faster, safer and accessible to everyone. I haven't dived a huge amount into it. I like what they're trying to build. The team behind it are very reputable within the Cardano space, have built Cardano Scan, Typhoon Wallet, and you can see here borrow, pay, earn, swap with crypto and fiat. So this is the biggest part of it. So they're going to be looking to offer lending and borrowing just like some of the other platforms, but like Meld, they are trying to bring in the fiat side of things. You can see down here, they are targeting a worldwide market, but India is going to be their first port of call, according to what I've seen so far, and that really is a big market. One of the reasons that I could find that maybe they are down for the last week is this post here about the FLAC that was distributed to people who tested for them early on was sent out this week. So that's potentially the reason why we're seeing it down. Maybe some of the people who got their funds for testing sold them out on the market, but over 30 days, it's still up 90%. So it's not something I'd be worried about in the longer term. Next, we have Clay Token, which is down 10% for the last 7 days. Over 30 days, still up basically 12%. Some of this is probably down to the fact that there would have been people who bought in on the announcement of the integration with Sandbox, where Clay Nation announced a partnership with Sandbox, where some of the Clay Nation some of the clays are going to be put into the Sandbox. Really good to see cross-chain collaboration like that. So potentially people bought in for that and then sold out after it. NMKR, this one, it is down for 7 days and it's the only one of the top 5 or the bottom 5 here that's also down on 30 days. For the last week, this one probably was affected by what happened with Rogue Galaxies, which was or is an NFT gaming project building on Cardano. They announced this week they haven't been able to raise the type of funds that they wanted. They have changed what they're going to be doing. You can see Patrick here has talked about it and said what they're going to be doing going forward. A lot of people were sharing this part here about how the project's going to be scaling back and it hasn't been successful, and left out the bit about where they are trying to salvage something for this. They are going to be putting in their own money to try and bring some sort of value out to the game. I still have to dive deeper into everything that's going on there, but to me, that is probably one of the reasons for NMKR being here. So then rounding it out, we have the LQ token for Liquid Finance. Things have been a bit quieter there the last week. They did add Jed to the platform, which was good to see, but we are starting to get closer to the team getting another unlock of their tokens, as well as the VC investors getting the release of their tokens. So the market, for me, would be taking that type of stuff into account now, and expecting that when they start getting their tokens, some percentage of that is going to be sold off. And right now, there isn't enough of a use case for the LQ token. They haven't brought in staking or anything else there. So I would like to see them get a move on with that and get some of that out for the community to give people incentive to actually get involved on the token side. Finance down 5% for the last week, but overall it's still up 35%. Waiting on the testnet to go live. Beta testnet, as far as I last seen, has gone live or is going live very soon. That's another project I need to do a bit more of a deep dive into. And if there are projects you want to see me dive deeper into, if there's enough of demand for individual projects, maybe I can do individual videos on them types of things. But let me know down below which ones you'd like to see. Hope you have a great week. Subscribe if you're new. Share it out if you think others get benefit from this. I do appreciate it. Talk to you soon.